Welcome to another episode of the Japa the Travel Education, where we keep you informed on how to migrate abroad. In this episode, you'll be listening to the top 5 frequently asked questions about studying and working in Germany. As always, remember that sharing is caring.
Hey guys, so today I will be giving answers to some of the FAQs that I normally receive about how to study and work abroad. My focus is on Germany because this is where I am based. I've been living abroad in Germany precisely for over 7 years now. I studied here and then after my master's studies, I started working. I'm going to give you guys, a little bit background so you can relate to me very well. So I had my bachelor's degree in biochemistry from the University of Ilorin, Nigeria, from 2008 to 2012. And then after my studies back then in Unilori, I, had my youth service in Zamfara State, Gusau precisely. And then I moved to Germany. Deborah, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask me. I'm hoping this session will last for like 15 to 20 minutes max. And the goal is to give answers to some of the frequently questions that I get about studying or working abroad. So to continue, I was giving a bit about my background. So after my youth service there in Zamfara State, Gusau, before then, back in 2012, while I was still in Unilori, I was already preparing, myself to study abroad. I was looking at other destinations, the UK, Canada, Australia, for obvious reasons, the language. But then at some point, I got information about Germany. My brother told me about Germany that, hey, do you know that you can study in Germany tuition free? And I'm someone who likes to try out something new. So I thought like, okay, would I have to learn the language? And he was like, no, at the master's level, you wouldn't need, you can study in English language. And I thought that was really nice. So I started applying, or rather, just checking out schools. So through my youth service, I was like checking out schools, like making my short list. And then after youth service, while doing my first job, I continued to apply until everything worked out well. So cut a long story short, it took me like 2 years to start preparing, check out the schools, make my short list, apply to them, and then before everything, finally came to pass. Top 5 FAQs that I get mostly about studying or working abroad are the language requirements to study and to work. What are the kind of qualifications, that you can use to study abroad in Europe, in Germany precisely? When are the applications period, when can you apply during the year? And questions like, how can I study medicine in Germany? How can I study nursing in Germany? And one of the very most important one is, can I study and work alongside mini jobs? So I will talk about this in a moment. The first one, the language. So language is it's a major requirement when it comes to studying abroad. So you have to think about the language of that country that you're going into. Because I tell people it's not just about what you study today, but after you study, what are you going to do after your studies? Do you want to study and go back home? Do you want to study and stay back in the country that you finished studying? What are the job opportunities for you? So basically the quality of your lives during your studies and then after your studies um, highly depend on the language to some extent. But this is just one, tiny part of the bigger picture. So what I've noticed is people tend to magnify this unnecessarily. The fact remains that in most European countries, you can still survive without the native language. Most people speak English. Of course, I would not deny the fact that in certain locations, if you do not understand the native language, it's going to be a big challenge. But think about it. If the language is just maybe 5% of everything that you have to worry, or maybe 2%, are you going to focus just on that? Learning the language is a plus. So let's talk about Germany precisely. What is the language when it comes to Germany? Now, it depends on the level. So if you're applying for a bachelor study program, then the language becomes more important compared to if you're applying for master's or PhD. For PhD, most times it's like irrelevant. For master's, almost 70%. It depends on the master's program that you're going for. At the bachelor's level, there are selected study programs that you can offer in English language. Now, the bottom line is there's no general or standard answer to this question, language requirements to study in Germany. So it depends, one, on the level, the degree that you're applying for, and then secondly, it depends on the study program. The higher the degree, the less the requirement for German language. And also, depending on the particular study program that you're interested in, the language also becomes important. I will talk more about these when I talk about the number 4 point here, nursing and medicine. So how about work? This also is kind of similar to the first one. It's kind of similar to studying. Of course, it depends on the field that you want to work in. So if it's like within the international space where you do not have to deal with the locals, then German is not necessarily a prerequisite. But what people do not understand is that most employers in Germany, they are looking for international talent. And what that simply means is your language skills that you bring from wherever, it's a plus for you, you know. So people have to understand that the language is not it's not necessarily something that stops you from getting the opportunity. Rather, it's something that is actually going to push you up. Now, for certain fields, like when it comes to like medicine, nursing, and like within the medical areas, places where you know that you have to deal with the locals, the language becomes very important if you want to work in that space. In areas like finance, business management, finance is a very delicate issue, and most times you may be dealing with like local companies, and so the clients are usually maybe local people. Language may become important. But what I can tell you today is that most companies in Germany, they are expanding into the international market. As you probably know, Germany has, I think Germany has the fourth strongest economy in the world. So there's the US and China, moving between number 1 and 2, and then there's Japan, usually number 3, and then there's Germany. So yeah, I'm not going into all those details today, but the point is the economy of Germany is a really strong one, and they keep expanding into the international market. And what that means for you is, as an international talent, you come with great skills, great talent that they have not seen before. And if you can, I think what matters for most employer is that, do you show interest in the language? What are you bringing in? Learning the language is not impossible. When I came to Germany, I had zero knowledge of the German language. The best I could say is Ich liebe dich, simply means I love you. And I learned that from some friends of my uncles, that would visit back home. But the point is, for me as a person, I like to learn new things. So it really depends on you. But the answer to the question about language is, one, it depends on the field of work. So if your area of expertise, if the place where you work, you have to deal with the local people, then yes, language might be a prerequisite. But if that's not the case, then you do not have to worry about the language. But the next thing would be, do you have interest to learn the language or not? Because overall, your quality of life would be, of course, way much better if you can speak the language. And if this is something that you're not considering, then fine. For some areas for some disciplines, like people within the IT space, then this is not necessarily that important, because most of the times the language that you speak is mostly English. The language that you program in and work in is usually English language. So for people within the IT digital space, it's not a problem. To some level, engineering as well. If you are there within the life science space, it's also not a big issue, because most times you will be dealing with international research centers or institutes. If you are like within the field of biotechnology, then it depends on how global the company is. So I guess at the end of the day, you would have to narrow it down to your own focus. But overall, I can tell you that if the areas of interest is not medicine and nursing, then you don't have to put language as a big challenge for yourself. So ask yourself, are you willing to learn the language or not? I feel like I've stressed so much on this language, so I'm going to move to the next one. If you have a questions, just, I don't know, raise up your hand. I'm not sure how this space thing works, but I think if you do something, I will see it and respond to you. The next one is the qualification to study in Germany. Now, this depends, okay, on it's also very similar to the language requirement. It depends on the level. So is it bachelor's, master's, or PhD? So generally speaking, if you have a bachelor's degree from any country, Nigeria or wherever, then you can apply for the master's. If you have a master's, you can apply for a PhD. But when it comes to the bachelor, it's different because the German education system is quite different from the British and the American educational system, which most African countries have adopted. Friends from Cameroon, for instance, that also have similar educational system to Germany, they don't have to worry about this. Why? Because whereas in Nigeria you do up to like the third year of secondary school and then you sit for the West African Senior School Certificate Examination. In countries like Cameroon, they also do the A-level program, or rather A-level examination, which we in Nigeria, we do like GCE, right? So the thing is for most Nigerians, what they have is that qualification up to the SS3 level, and that means you spend 4 years in the university. In Germany, you spend 3 years at the university. But the difference is the 1 year that you spend, that means your 100 level at the university is the same as the A level or the GCE level that you would do in other countries like advanced level. In Germany, their secondary schools is longer than how it is in Nigeria. I think they have up to the 13th class. We in Nigeria have up to the 12th class. So, in a nutshell, your WAEC certificate or your WASE will not qualify you to apply for a bachelor's degree program in Nigeria, and that's final. There are no ways to go around it. But in other European countries like Poland, Hungary, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, and some others, they accept the bachelor's degree. So, and there, for some of them, interestingly, they accept the WASE for the bachelor's program, which is for 3 years. Some other locations, their bachelor's program is for 4 years. But the point is they are more friendly than Germany. Some people ask about OND. There's a post about that. I will drop the link to that post after this talk. You can find the link below. But for Germany, they do not accept OND. Interestingly, I had a friend of mine a couple of years back who he managed to apply with an OND to a university in Germany. I have to check for the name and share with you guys. But the point here is generally ONDs are not accepted in Germany as a university entrance qualification. The university entrance qualification in Germany is very different from that in Nigeria. If you have an A-level result, it will be taken, but I don't know which A-level result. So when I say A-level, I'm referring to people from Cameroon, for instance, because they have a different educational system. I'm not sure if the A-level result from Nigeria, so GCE, for example, or IGMB, or what is this one, NCE, will be accepted to a bachelor's degree. I can tell you that theoretically, some universities will accept them because they have some special cases. Some universities take the time to check your requirement very specifically. They check exactly what has this student studied, how many hours have they put into their work, which particular subject have they taken. But that is not the standard. Universities that do this are small universities in small towns that actually need students. So if you have an OND, I can tell you theoretically there's a chance for you, but then the work would have to be on your part to look for those schools that will accept your qualification. You would have to contact the school yourself directly and find out from them. So no one is going to crucify the school for taking you. If they've taken you, they've taken you. So what happens is they check your qualification directly and see what have you done in the past, how many hours have you spent, which courses have you done. So, but the standard is OND, WASE, they are not accepted in Germany for bachelor's program. If you have a bachelor's program, you can apply straight away for master's or if you have a master's, then you can, if you see a PhD offer, you can apply for that. The third one is application periods to study in Germany. There are two periods, the summer and then the winter. So the summer semester starts in September, October, and the application period for the summer semester starts usually sometime around March, April, and goes through May, and then you can expect the admission to start coming out towards the end of July, August. Sometimes some universities, we can get the admission letter as early as June. So summer semester starts in September, October. The application window opens between March and April. No, I take that back. That was winter semester. Summer semester starts in March, April. The application period opens sometime around November, December, and could go to January. I got a post today from a friend saying that applications for summer semester this year is still open in both public and private universities. So if you are interested to apply still in the summer semester this year in Germany, you can just ask me, and I will share the information of this colleague with you. But it's not the standard, because it depends on which school that you are applying to. So some schools, they still have the window open, other schools not. The fourth one, which is very important, is working or studying medicine and or nursing in Germany. So one, there's the language requirement part, and then there's also like the document requirement part. But before I dive into the details, when it comes to nursing and medicine in Germany, the German language is 100% a prerequisite. So if you are interested in medicine, if you're interested in nursing, for sure there are good opportunities here for you, but German is required. You will be dealing with the locals. You will be treating patients that are mostly Germans, and they only understand, the language they understand most time is German. And of course, the language of study, documentation, and the whole process is 100% German. So if you're thinking about this before making any move, ask yourself, are you ready to learn the language? What I can tell you for sure is that when if you can speak one language, learning another language is always a plus for you, So besides the language requirements, the next thing would be, okay, let's talk about nursing, for instance. There are two ways that nursing works here in Germany. You can do it as an Ausbildung, and Ausbildung simply means, Ausbildung is kind of another fancy word for education. But the difference is, it's not like the standard education where you go to the university. It's different. So it's like you go to the classroom 3 days, and then you have practicals 2 days. So it's like you're learning and you're studying. You're studying and you're working at the same time. So they have like the theoretical part and then the practical aspect. The nice thing about Ausbildung is that the only prerequisite is the German language. So if you have up to the B2 German knowledge, then you can apply for an Ausbildung in nursing. Now, if at the end of the day you still want to take up a degree in nursing, which is something that I would advise, then it makes the way even a lot easier for you. I have some document and some bit of information here and there about nursing in Germany. I will put that together and also share with you guys, so you can read through it and know what are the requirements. But the way it works is, one, it depends already if you're practicing nursing already from your home country, from Nigeria or wherever you are tuning in from. If you are, then the first thing I would do would be to check the equivalence of your nursing certificate, how long you've been practicing, how many hours you spent to study nursing, and then they will check the equivalence of that qualification to the one here in Germany. And depending on that, they will issue you a nursing license here. So now that's like one of the very easy way to migrate, to move to Germany. And I think it's also the case in many other countries. So if nursing is the way for you to go, then first German language requirement, and then secondly would be the evaluation of your nursing certificate or qualification. If you already have a bachelor's degree in nursing back home, then the question would be, do you want to come here and practice nursing, or you want to continue studying nursing here? Depending on the case, I think that usually you would be working and studying at the same time. I would highly recommend, as always, if you already have a degree there, that when you come here, you also continue on that path. You get paid more, you do less work, and it's a lot easier for you to climb to the top. The only challenge would be the language. And if you can overcome that, then you wouldn't have any problem at all. So that's about nursing. If you have specific questions, then you can always ask me, send me a DM or drop a comment, whatever. The last but not the least is mini job, so working and studying at the same time. Mini job is also called like student job or side job. It's like how easy is it to get a job, while studying in Germany? Um, Direct answer, very easy. A more detailed answer, it depends on you, it depends on your location, it also depends on your network, it also depends on the skills that you have and what you want to do. So if someone asks me how easy is it to get a mini job in Germany, the first thing that comes to my mind is, should I answer this based on my experience? If I would answer that, then I would tell you it's very easy. I got my first mini job like, I don't know, 6 months after I came to Germany. I actually, if I wanted to get it earlier, I could have gotten it earlier, but I needed that time to like settle in first, understand my classes, understand the neighborhood, and then before jumping onto job. But of course, the case is different for some other people. They need the money, so like when they come right away, they need to start working, so it's different. What I will tell you is this: don't start troubling yourself before leaving home. Will I get a job? Will I not get a job? How will I do this? How will I do that? You can't have all the answers. What I can tell you, on the other hand, is for sure if you want to have a job, you will have a job when you come to Germany. Some of the factors would be, okay, how urgent is this job? How urgent you need the job would determine what kind of job you would settle for. I usually advise not to settle for any kind of job. Find a decent job for yourself as a student. If you have some skills from home, especially digital skills, it will help you a lot. There are many startup companies that are looking for students to work with them remotely. Trust me, you can work from the comfort of your home, your city, and you earn really good money. The thing there to keep in mind is the minimum wage in Germany is like 9 euros per hour, but you could have a really decent student job that pays you even up to 15 euros per hour. And most of them are like with startup companies. So my advice here would be, learn some kind of skills before you move abroad. Like learn how to drive, maybe learn how to make hair if you're a lady or a guy who has interest in that. If you have content creation skills, digital marketing skills, programming skills. I could think about some of the skills and then make a post on that. But the bottom line is, learn some handy skills so that when you move abroad, you won't be doing some kind of not really nice mini jobs. The issue with that is, some of these jobs, like working in the factory, working in a restaurant, working at the bar, depending on the bar, um, they take so much of your time. They don't pay you that well, and at the end of the day, you're so exhausted that you wouldn't even have time for your studies, which is actually the main thing that you wanted to do, you know. But I mean, people have different conditions. But if you would have some patience, then you can take the time and look for a really nice and decent job. It will pay you more in the long run. And the best part is, if this job is in line with your interest, your discipline, then you would already start building your career starting from when you are studying. The best part is, after your studies and then you begin to apply for jobs, you already have like good work experience within that field. Is it a come by? No. But if you have the right information, you have the right connection, I don't see anything that's going to stop you from achieving this. So the other, yeah, very funny one that I get is, how about black jobs? So black jobs is called Schwarzarbeit in German. Oh, yeah, it's like black jobs, like jobs that you do that you don't pay tax. By the way, for many jobs, you don't pay taxes. You can earn up to 450 euros per month during the school days, and then holidays, I think you can earn more than that, and you still would not be taxed. So black jobs are like people who want to work more than that, 450, and they don't want to get taxed. On the other hand, if you are like not studying and you just want to like do jobs from the backyard, people do that, but I wouldn't advise that. Why? Because it comes with no job protection, comes with no health insurance. They pay you, of course, way less because they know that if they pay you less, you can't say anything. So, if you move abroad in the right way, you don't have to do all these illegal jobs. You can find a really decent job for yourself and do. Okay, guys. So that was my first space Twitter, whatever. I'm not sure how it's called, but I really liked it, you know. And thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you all. And what I talked about were like the top 5 frequently asked questions about studying and working abroad, the language requirement, the qualifications, the application period, nursing and medicine, especially in Germany, and then mini jobs. If you have some other like pressing questions about studying and working abroad, feel free to send me a DM, make a tweet and tag me in it, and I'll be happy to share my experience and my knowledge. Thank you once more, guys. I really appreciate your time. I'll see you, next time. Hopefully this week again. All right. Until then, have a good one, and bye for now.
Thank you for listening till the end. Let us know if you have any questions. Our contact details are in the description. Remember to share because you care.